Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Go-To Meals. Today I'm going to make my go-to meal, which is homemade pizza. We're going to make it entirely from scratch. We're going to make the dough ourselves, and we're also going to make the pizza sauce that we're going to spread over the dough. It's a really sort of quick and easy recipe to make. It's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. It doesn't cost a lot of money at all, and there's a lot of like durable ingredients in there as well. So today this cost me roughly around £7, but there's about half these ingredients I can sort of use for another sort of 4 medium or large pizzas as well, which is really good. It's really good to sort of just make for yourself, or you can make it with your flatmates or housemates. Maybe make some pizzas, invite some people over for a film night or something similar. You don't have to use all the dough for the pizza if you don't want to. You could also put some aside and make some sort of dough balls or like dough sticks or something like that as a kind of little side dish if you wanted to. Before we get started, I'm going to take you through the ingredients of what you will need. Strong white bread flour. I've already measured out 500 grams of this white flour into a bowl, and I've put some salt and pepper in there, and in a bit we're going to put the yeast in there. They all come in sort of 7-gram sachets, so we're only going to need one of these sachets for the pizza. That just goes back into your cupboard, and you can keep bringing that out every time you want to make some pizza dough. We've got 4 cloves of garlic. I've got some red onion peppers today. We're just going to put that on top. These are optional, of course. You don't have to have peppers or onions. We've got some olive oil, which we're going to put in the pizza dough and maybe sprinkle a bit on top at the end. We've got some fresh basil, and of course we've got some mozzarella cheese that we're going to sort of tear up and sprinkle over the pizza at the end. We've got 3 tins of plum tomatoes. It's really important that it is plum tomatoes, just to make sure you get the maximum amount of the juice out of it. Chopped tomatoes you don't sort of get as much. They're sort of better for sort of bolognese and like curries and things like that. The garlic and the basil and the tin tomatoes are all going to make your pizza sauce. Really simple, really easy, and in my opinion really tasty as well, but we'll get onto that bit later. So what we're going to do now, we're going to actually sort of prepare the yeast to go into the dough mixture, and you can also save dough that you've made as well, wrap it in cling film and put it in the freezer, and you can save it for a later point as well. So let's get started. So what we've got 325 millilitres of lukewarm water in there. So what I'm going to do is pour a 7-gram sachet of yeast in there. So what we're going to do is just going to pour that into the warm water, give that a stir, put that onto the side for about 10 minutes and let the sides happen, I suppose. So while we're waiting for that to happen, we're going to sort of start to prepare some of our other ingredients. You can put what you want into this pizza. You can take out any ingredients. You can maybe cut up some olives or jalapenos or something like that and sprinkle them on top. Chilies, or just use chili flakes perhaps. It's entirely up to you. It's your pizza. Make it your own. Maybe you've got people coming around and they all like different things. Maybe have some things prepared. Like, we're going to finely chop the garlic. At the end of the day, we are going to actually drain some of these ingredients. So don't worry too much about how you cut up the garlic. It's okay if it's a little bit chunky. All you want really from it is the flavour, so just make sure it's not too thick where the oils release too slowly, and then you just want to just chop it a little bit finely like that. With the basil, we're not actually going to chop this at all, we're just going to kind of tear it up with our hands as we put it in. We can now start to move on to working with the dough. Before that, we're just going to drizzle some olive oil in there, only about like a teaspoon, you don't need that much. And then in goes the yeast. So that's going in there, and we're just going to kind of start to really kind of mix that together. Once it's kind of started to move shape, you just kind of want to roll it out onto a flat surface. This is where it gets messy, but that's pizza making for you. Just want to sprinkle that on top. Move that bowl over to the side. We're going to just sprinkle a little bit more flour on top of it. And now we're just going to kind of start to work it around a little bit. start what they call knocking the dough. So it's really kind of going to start to kind of stretch it out. So we kind of palm the hand like that. We're going to sort of take it out, stretch it. Now we've pretty much got our dough all ready to go. Not entirely ready yet, there is one more stage before. What you want, just when you know it's ready, is just to prod your finger in it, and it shouldn't bounce back. It should just kind of make a hole and do that. Using the bowl that we used before, just kind of scrub some of that excess out with it. I'm not going to use that bit. And what we're going to do, we're just going to sprinkle some flour in there. We're going to put that in the bowl. We're going to put that over. So just dampen the teat out, and we're going to put this aside now for about an hour, hour and a half, a bit longer if you want. That's going to rise. The yeast is going to sort of do its thing and sort of grab all those air pockets, and it's going to rise up. And once we do that, we can take it out and actually start sort of flattening out the pizza and start creating the pizza ready to go into the oven. So we're going to just put that aside, and then we're going to move on to the tomato sauce. It's entirely up to you if you actually want to go through with this recipe. You can just make the dough and maybe spread over some tomato puree or a pasta sauce or something like that. It's entirely up to you, but I think it's quite fun and quite good to kind of make it from scratch, and you can sort of make it your own as you go along. But this is kind of the base recipe. We're just going to sprinkle in some olive oil into like a deep pan. Make sure it's the deepest pan you have. If not, you can go out and get quite deep pans at quite affordable prices. And then just kind of sprinkle in some oil. What we're going to do now, we're going to sort of just put this on the hob, get the oil sort of heated up. You want it kind of on a low to medium heat. You don't want it too high, you don't want it cooking too quickly. The oil's heated up now, so what we're going to do, we're just going to scrape in the garlic. So that's going to hit the garlic there. And then what we want to do now with the basil, we're just going to tear it as it goes in. So give that a little stir, just kind of wait till the garlic sort of browns up a little bit. And as soon as that starts to brown and caramelise, we're going to then go in with the tins of plum tomato. Okay, so what we're going to do, the 3 tins of tomatoes are in there. We're going to, if you have a potato masher, that's great. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. You can use a spoon, and sort of, it just takes a little bit longer if you have a spoon or something like that. We're going to start to kind of prod the plum tomatoes down, get all the juice out of the tomatoes, and then we can obviously have more juice to kind of make a sauce and spread over more pizzas. Okay, so what we're going to do now, just before, we're just going to add a sprinkle of salt and pepper. It's quite a generous serving of salt and pepper, but don't worry about that. When we sort of drain it later, obviously when you drain it, it's going to lose some of that salt and pepper anyway, so don't worry about there being too much in there. So what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of just give it a stir. We're going to kind of let it just kind of simmer now for about sort of 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're going to sort of drain it using a colander, and then we're going to sort of just get this, what's going to be left behind is this kind of just pure tomato juice that we're going to then simmer for about 20-30 minutes, and then that'll thicken up into kind of like a tomato puree, and then it will go into a consistency that you can kind of spread over your pizza. So just take it off the heat, pour that in like so. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of push all this sauce through, sort of give it a stir, kind of fold it, really get all that sauce moving, push all that through. You are going to be left now just with all that sauce, like that. You've just got all those basil flavours in, it's got that garlic in there, it's got that salt and pepper in there. And just let it drain. There's no bother rushing this bit, just get as much juice as you can out of there. Even use your masher a little bit just to kind of get a bit of excess juice out of there. Move that to the side, and what we're going to do now is we're going to just kind of pour this back very slowly. into the cooking pot. What we're going to do now is going to just turn it down really low, really as low as you can, and we're just going to kind of simmer that now for about 20 or 30 minutes. What you've been left with here is all the kind of tomatoes and the garlic and the basil. Don't throw that away. You're not really going to need it for the rest of the pizza, but you can sort of put this in a plastic tub, put it in the fridge, and this goes really well. Heat it up with like toast, goes well on like bacon sandwiches. You just don't want to waste any of that because it's really good stuff in there, and it just goes really nice with lots of other different things as well. But I just recommend keeping that and using it for another day. And then what you want to do now is just let that simmer and simmer very slowly on a low heat. All that water is going to evaporate out of it, and you're just going to be left with the kind of all the flavours in a sort of puree form.
Social thing, like you all cook it together.
You're an inspiration, Jim.
I'd want that in your pasta sauce.
Yeah, you can keep.
It sounds nice putting on a bacon sandwich there.
Yeah, it does go quite nice. A bit like spinach.
James, I love you. There, I said it.
The best thing on the earth, best thing, I'm living it first.
Oh, it's really thickening up now. It's really starting to get thick now, really starts to come that kind of pizza sauce consistency that you want. Obviously the thicker it is the better, because it won't sort of leak that water as much. You want sort of to evaporate as much water as you can. But as you can see, it's really just starting to really thicken up now, and we're almost ready to start spreading this over a pizza base.
Ooh.
It's just kind of really thick and gloopy. That's kind of exactly what you want. Turn the hob off, take it off the heat. That can just kind of sit in that pan. But now we're going to actually do the tricky part now, where we kind of roll out the pizza, which sometimes goes right, sometimes goes wrong. So if you kind of just flatten it out, you can just kind of start to use gravity a little bit, and then you can start to just get it in a small circular shape, and sort of pump the sides. What you want to do now, just before you sort of put it onto your tray, you just want to kind of like prod the edges, and then you kind of distinguish what's the crust and what's the centre. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to actually start to dress the pizza. So now that's all ready, we're going to put this in the oven, as I said, 10 to 14 minutes. And hopefully at the end of it we've got a nice delicious homemade pizza.
Come on, we'll all have a little play, we're doing something. Oh god, it feels lovely.
Punch it.
Oh, gee, my knuckles cracked then.
There you go. Rub it in a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh god, this is like Pizza Express.
Not quite that glamorous, but exactly.
Friendship.
There you go. Friendship. Everyone can have a role. Ed's doing obviously most of the work. I know what Liv's doing quite a minute.
I'm not sure of the shape, to be honest.
I think it's
Quite
different,
nice.
it's quirky.
Choose your cheese quantity. You cheese lovers?
We like the cheese.
Cheese.
I'll get it on there, you spread it.
You know, another episode 2 of Big Chef, Little Chef. Look at their pizza. I've just made a little mini one. There you go. Just to prove it can come in bite-sized form as well.
God. I like my meals to be aesthetically pleasing, so I like to use a mixture of colours of peppers, just so you've got that different range, you know.
I mean, that looks great.
Voila! Every Lizzie's pizza. Woohoo!
Get it in the oven.
Try that.
Ooh, that's lovely.
Is it good?
It's not just good, it's great.
That's awesome. That is honestly awesome, Jim.
That is so nice. Oh, get yourself a good scoop.
How come it's so strong? Because it was simmered for ages.
Yeah, just simmer it really slowly.
You guys have got to try this out.
Knock yourself out.
Really good.
Let's get this in. You can crack on with that washing up, Ed.
If you've got any extra toppings left over though, keep it as a dip.
That is a cracking dip. I wish we had some tortillas. Honestly, that's...
Honestly, that is wicked, isn't it?
This is the best I've ever had.
Honestly, Jim, you sold yourself. I didn't know you had this talent.
It's honestly great. Let's see if we've got some bread. Maybe we could put it on some toast. Let's put it on some toast.
That dough is amazing as well.
It's good, isn't it?
Here we go, guys. A selection of toasted bread to dip in the sauce. Ooh. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Reach for the same one. Ed, you've got to get in on this. I don't think there's going to be an insider to beat you.
No,
This
this
is-
is absolutely superior.
Forget your fajitas.
Yeah.
No, I do love a good fajita. That's another good one to make with pals.
Can you make on your own?
Ed, come on.
Come on, get in it.
Kind of.
Get stuck in. I'm going to put a bit of onion on this. Now I'll put the onion on after. Ooh, get that.
Wait.
There.
Never expand it.
We're not going to want our dinner.
That's what it's there for.
It's honestly quality, Jake. It was so easy as well.
So easy. So easy.
I feel like we sound like we're trying to sell it. And it was so easy. But it was.
That's the first one done. So as you can see, it's really melted really well. It's got really kind of crusty on the edges. Sure, because they are crusts. I'm going to try my first bite. I would like to invite my director and my assistant here, Ed, to come in and try one, because there's no point enjoying this.
It's like
all on
Saturday
my own.
kitchen.
No, look at me, I'm like, get in.
Come
I'll
on,
have this
I want a
bit.
bit of
grab
onion
one.
on.
Take this whole half.
It's really kept its shape.
Right, wicked, James.
There you go. Homemade pizza. Affordable. Easy to make. Really fun to make. Just got my mini pizza out the oven. As you can see, you can have them bite size as well. Thanks for watching. Go to Student Meals today. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and more importantly, share it and give it a go. I'm sure you'll really like it. Everyone likes pizza, ultimate crowd pleaser. And I hope your pizzas turn out well. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. It's moments like this that makes it worth the time it took spending to make it.
Oh, bless
Look at
you.
that.